Hi, I'm Matthew Muldoon, and today we're going to talk about how to increase profit. As we know from our readings on surplus value, Marx claims that profit is derived from variable capital, or the workers, rather than constant capital, or the means of production. We also know that over time, the rate of profit, S over V plus C, tends to fall due to competition forcing capitalists to invest further into technological advancement. This is anathema to the bourgeoisie, who wish to keep their profits high, or at least constant. So how do they manage to do this? When a laborer is working, they're only working for themselves part of the day. During this time, called the necessary labor time, the worker is producing for their own needs. Once the worker has completed this essential period of the day, he or she then enters the surplus labor time, where they're in complete service to the capitalist. This is the time when profit, or surplus value, is extracted from the laborer, and therefore is the time that must be lengthened to maintain the rate of profit. So, how is this accomplished? The first way that the bourgeoisie can realize this is by extending the hours that are worked in a day. For instance, if necessary labor is 4 hours and the workday is only 8 hours long, the capitalist will only extract 4 hours of surplus labor. But if the necessary labor is the same as before and the workday is lengthened to 16 hours, then the capitalist is able to extract 12 hours of surplus value. In short, by adding more hours onto the end of the day, more surplus value can be extracted. This is called the extraction of absolute surplus value, and this mode of increasing the rate of profit highlights why the bourgeoisie and proletariat have fought over the length of the workday since the beginning of capitalism. But if extracting the absolute surplus value lengthens the day in discrete terms, how can the falling rate of profit be counteracted if the capitalist isn't in a position to easily increase the workday? This is where relative surplus value comes into play. Rather than lengthen the workday and increase surplus value in absolute terms, the capitalist prods workers to produce at a faster rate than they normally would. In doing so, laborers work at an above average intensity, reducing the amount of time needed to reach necessary labor, therefore freeing up more of the workday for the extraction of surplus value in relative terms. This has become more common as extracting absolute surplus value has gotten more difficult. However, the extraction of relative surplus value often leads to the value of labor power itself falling. The need for faster production can, quote, trigger a systemic improvement to the productive forces, meaning that in the need to stay relevant, capitalists will continue their technological progression and rethink the organization of their productive capacities. This, in turn, leads to a reduction in the average social required labor time needed to produce the means of subsistence. As this falls, so too does the value of labor power, thus increasing profits. So how can laborers fight back against these bourgeois actions? The only way labor can defend itself is by being organized. Without an organizational component to their actions, labor is unable to easily keep these kinds of abuses in check. Until the global labor force is able to become organized, the extraction of surplus value in absolute or relative terms will carry on as capitalists continue their never-ending fight against the tendency of profit to fall.